Hello, party people, and welcome to today's edition of Jay's Latest. I am your host, Craig Borden, and let's just step up to the plate. So, on the fun that happened last night, as the Blue Jays unfortunately take another loss. We'll get into that in a moment. Dalton Varsho makes his triumphant return on Alejandro Kirk Bobble Arm Day, and we get to talk all things Toronto Blue Jays with him being back in the lineup and what that could mean for this team. We got to experience what it is like to have the Gold Glove winning center fielder already right back in our center field because he might have already made the catch of the year. Yes, you heard that. He's back from one game and might have made the catch of the year already. Because if you have not seen this highlight yet, I highly recommend going over your favorite social media platform, YouTube, whatever it is, bluejays.com, and checking this out. Because Dalton Varsho was running deep for a ball that was basically warning track in dead center field. And Jared Duran, who took this thing for a ride and would have been easily extra bases, probably a triple, maybe even an inside ballpark home run if Varsho doesn't stop this ball from rolling around after he would have inevitably missed it, would have been in the normal. In pure athleticism, in the miss, like I said, that happened here, the lead up to what turned into an amazing catch. Dalton Varsho must have got his cleat or something stuck on the transition between the regular carpet and the warning track in the dead center field in the Sky Dome. And in the midst of this, he trips, falls down, but he's facing the wall. So he falls, rolls, somehow manages to pick the ball back up and turns around and does one of these like almost like backhanded goalie saves to catch this ball, and then just for a little bit of showmanship takes the glove, wraps the ball or behind his back, and then gets the ball thrown into the infield. It was nothing short of incredible. And like I said, I cannot say enough good things about this play because it turned to frown upside down. As soon as he went down and I was watching this, I'm like, there's no way in hell he catches that. I was just hoping, praying that he dropped, and the ball was rough to the point where it wasn't rattling all over the place and becoming inside the home park home run. And then, like I said, basically pulls the equivalent of a rabbit out of his hat, and boom, there you go. So one day back, Gold Glove winning play, just amazing. And unfortunately, at the dish, he couldn't have picked a worse day to come back for the Toronto Blue Jays to be in this lineup. And that's not anything to slouch at. For it was just more or less the ridiculous craziness that was what he walked back into as the Blue Jays face another pitcher that just throws pure gas. And he went on his way to his third win of the season as Garrett Crochet of the Boston Red Sox. 6 strikeouts over 7 innings, only allows 4 hits, the big one being to Vlad. So this offense continues to struggle as they run into somebody like Garrett Crochet. But we cannot buy a hit, cannot buy a run. All these things. The 4 hits they had against Crochet were the only hits they had in the game, as the Boston bullpen also mowed through the last 2 innings of the Blue Jays hitters in what ended up being a 10-2 victory. At the plate, before we talk about the pitching, Bo Bichette had 2 of those 4 hits, which is a good thing because that means Bo Bichette's starting to maybe turn the corner here, and figure out what to do with some of this velocity. The Blue Jays, I was reading some stat, and it was on Sportsnet last night, that they have faced more pitchers that throw just pure gas and fastballs over 95 than any team in Major League Baseball so far this year. And with that being said, it just shows that the Blue Jays have had been facing excellent pitching, but they are not doing themselves any favors by not being able to hit the fastball as well. If they know they're going to be facing guys with gas, which in this reality of Major League Baseball, with what pitchers do these days, it seems like an odd stat for me to take, any weight on, because every player does just throw pure gas. It seems like on the mound these days. Um, it is what it is, but to that point, I just don't see that as an excuse. Oh, we face too much gas. I can't hit it. Well, the best pitch in Major League Baseball has been and always will be the fastball. We have to find a way to hit it. It's just how the game works. Um, Vlad, was able to hit one of those last night. And thank God that Bo Bichette was on base when this happened, because Vladdy ended up having a just monster Bama Jamma as he destroyed this ball to center field. And it was just pure awesome to see Vladdy line one up like that. Another one that was just a screamer, not a high exit angle or anything like that. I don't have the exact miles per hour in front of me, but this thing was a missile. Um, Very encouraging to see Vladdy starting to heat up. He is batting 271. If his bat gets going, this lineup gets going, and that is good things. So hopefully that means that we're starting to rattle out of this. I still can't believe how hard he hit when it didn't look like it hit the sweet spot. It just proved to me what I saw with him hit that home run, that Vlad will never use a torpedo bat because it's hit closer to the end, and you want to have that meat on the end of the bat. So tis what it is. So let's move to the other side of the ball and talk about Bowden Francis, because Bowden had a rough outing. Um, Most major league pitchers will tell you, even when they're having a great day, having good luck, whatever it might be, their misses and how they miss when they're not hitting their target is just as important as actually hitting the target to begin with. Watching Bowden pitch yesterday, Bowden was definitely not missing in the right places. You could see Kirk line up a lot of times on the corners, on the inside, outside, and the ball would tail right down the pipe. And the Red Sox hitters took very good advantage of that last night, hitting five. Yeah, you heard me. 5 home runs against Bowden Francis yesterday. I can't remember the last time I saw a Blue Jays team give up 5 home runs, let alone one pitcher in 3 innings. So yes, Bowden Francis had a day to forget, and hopefully he figures out what the issues were. We were talking about pitch tipping and all these things. It just seemed like the frickin' Red Sox knew what was coming, and they teed up on Bowden Francis. And regardless of, like I said, that missed location stuff, it just seemed like they found a way in videotape or whatever to really take advantage of what Bowden was throwing. Um, it all started literally with a Jarren Duran home run. A few batters later, Alex Bregman tees him up. Christian Campbell hit his 4th home run of the season against him, and then he left one right over the middle in the 3rd inning for Rafael Devers, who just tattooed this thing. And then Willie Abreu, also off to an insane good start for the Red Sox, hit his 6th home run of the season, and that spelled the end of the day for Bowden Francis. So 7 earned runs, 8 hits, only picks up the 1 strikeout, no walks. So it just shows what he was missing. It was not a fun time. So at the end of the day, Blue Jays get Dylan Tate, who came in and did really well, actually, 1 inning and third. He walked 3, but he managed to scatter enough base runners that did that. He also was the benefactor of that wonderful play by Dalton Varsho, and his celebration was insanely not fun. You could see he was dumbfounded by the fact that Varsho came up with that ball. Mason Fluharty also had a great outing, 2 innings of work. And then once again, Blue Jay, Casey Lawrence. Welcome back, Casey, is all I saw in this equation. I'm actually very happy to have somebody like Casey Lawrence back in this bullpen, because it is nice to have somebody that can have some length. And I was hoping that today would have been where he got the pitch, but it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. 2 2/3 from Casey, and he unfortunately got the end of the assault from the Boston Red Sox, giving up 3 earned runs in those innings. But somebody had to eat up the innings at the end. And then usually how somebody like Casey Lawrence is used, Casey does have the potential to do good things. So I do hope that, this isn't the end and it's not just a stopgap. It would be nice to keep him around, because this is, funny enough, the 5th time the Toronto Blue Jays have had Casey Lawrence rejoin this team's efforts. And like I mentioned, I think the biggest thing that we got to take away from this game is that Bowden Francis needs to find a way to get away from the home run ball. That is the one thing that has hurt him in all of his outings. I believe he is currently the leading home runs against pitcher in Major League Baseball. As I want to say, it was like somewhere in the ballpark of 17, which doesn't surprise me at the end of the day, because even those no hit bids that he's had, even since last year, the one thing that's ended those no hitters or at least tagged them up has been a home run. So it is what it is. Hopefully he's got something that we can figure out because there is a very good piece for Bound Francis to be awesome and keep doing what he's been doing. And I do think he's been closer to what we've seen this season than he has what we saw last night. So let's talk previews. We got a weird day today, y'all. And we're going to have the bullpen day. My guess is Yariel Rodriguez is going to be the main benefactor of those innings that need to be eaten up. This is the Mad Max Scherzer turn in the rotation. If you're all wondering what happened, Easton Lucas has been demoted to Buffalo, and he cannot come back up, even with everything that happened last night, unless there was an injury for 5 days. That's the unfortunate reality of up and downing with pitchers. So, tis what it is. Keep moving forward. The Blue Jays do have a really fun chance on offense to maybe take advantage of somebody this week, or at least this evening. Lucas Giolito making his major league debut for 2025, and he has actually not pitched in the major leagues since 2023, which is the last time, like I mentioned, that he was on the mound for the I think it was the Cleveland Indians. Yes, at the time, not now Cleveland Guardians. But he threw 184 innings that year and had almost a 5 ERA. So the Blue Jays have a chance to tag him up. I'm looking for his minor league stats and I'm having trouble finding them. Seems odd to me. But Lucas Giolito is one of those guys that's been up, down, here, there. It'd be interesting to see what he can do here because I'm always happy to see a revenge story. This is a guy that was one of the top draft picks in the draft when he was selected. He's bounced around a little bit. Was expected to be one of the best pitchers in baseball for a really long time. This is why prospects are prospects, party people. But Giolito still only at the age of 30. Maybe he's learned how to pitch. Who knows? And it would be about the Toronto Blue Jays' luck of late to see Lucas Giolito come and mow through him tonight. I'm hoping that is not the case when you have guys like Bo Bichette that are batting 350 against him. You also have Alejandro Kirk that is also batting almost 400 against him in basically 1450 at bats. But Kirk has 3 home runs against Lucas Giolito. That's encouraging. We also have, for some reason, Miles Straw has beat him up, so maybe he'll be in the lineup today. Bo Bichette has 5 RBIs against him. Kirk 6, and Andres Jimenez somehow has a few hit RBs against him too with a home run. So maybe there's something comforting in the fact that the Blue Jays know that he's coming back from basically nowhere at this point in minor leagues, injuries and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully the Blue Jays find a way to spell success against him and be able to move on and actually get this offense moving. So outside of Jay Bird Watch or outside of Jay's latest, make sure you join us tonight on the Jay Bird Watching podcast so you can actually have your voice heard and chit chat with us. Me, Jason, and Liz will be on there talking all things Blue Jays. If you're wandering around the ballpark this weekend, I will be hanging around with Liz and a bunch of the other podcasters for Toronto Blue Jays baseball at the game Friday night and during the game on Saturday. So hit us up at Birdwatching GC and watch the show. Join us here on Jay's Latest and have fun with us. Also, I will be here daily and we will talk all things Toronto Blue Jays baseball. Interesting fun note that I'm going to share here. We are actually going to have a rock star on our show in a couple of weeks. So if you're a fan of the band Silverstein, we are going to be having him, the lead singer, who is apparently a giant Blue Jay fan, on the show, and we are going to talk all things Blue Jays baseball with him on the 28th of May. So mark those calendars to be able to hang out with him and ask some fun questions about, obviously maybe being a rock star and talking Blue Jays baseball. So join us live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will see you back here tomorrow morning to talk all things Jays latest. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. Cheers, and go Blue Jays.